Welcome to Unapologetic Melody, a podcast about music with a hint of pop culture. I'm your host, Sheena.
I'm your host, Amara.
And if you like us, don't forget to follow our socials. So today's topic, we're gonna be doing a quick review of the Grammys 2024, and then we're also gonna get into, is it time to say goodbye to the Grammys, or as other people like to call it, the Scammies? And our other topic is that we'll be talking about in recent events about rap beef and how far is too far in rap beef after recent things have been going on in the cultural landscape. So let's start with our very quick review of the Grammys.
Okay, so
How do you feel about this year's winners and the Grammys overall ceremony of the winners?
um I'm a bit biased to say per se, like the artists that I wanted to be, decorated with Grammys got their Grammys. So
I'm gonna say so. Congratulations to Victoria Monet, three Grammys, Best Engineering, Best what's it called, R&B Song, and Best New Artist. We love you, Victoria Monet. We literally said that if you don't win, something was gonna be thrown. So yeah, congratulations to our girl Coco Jones from Let It Shine on Disney Channel to winning your Grammy for ICU. I was scared she wasn't gonna win, so I'm glad that she did win something.
that was best R&B song, right?
It was. It was for like one type of R&B song. It was in the R&B category.
Was it best traditional R&B?
It was like a traditional performance. But either way, my girl Coco Jones won something, so I'm really happy.
That was a tough category to win, I think. So I think she did her thing by winning.
And SZA took home 3 Grammys, all within the R&B category, best progressive R&B album, what's it called, like another R&B song for Snooze, and also for best like pop duo with her and Phoebe Bridgers. So congratulations to SZA for getting her 3 Grammys, well deserved. We're gonna get into other stuff with SZA and the Grammys, which leads into a different topic.
Okay. How about the rap category?
Okay, so I didn't actually listen to Killer Mike's album, so I feel like I'm not a good judge of this one because Killer Mike swept all of the categories. So, and Killer Mike is a good rapper, but I didn't listen to the album. I was hoping that Metro Boomin won for Heroes and Villains, but I can't hate on Killer Mike because I didn't listen to the album.
Yeah. Same. I didn't actually listen to Killer Mike's album. I did listen to Metro Boomin's. So I just thought he would have won because the song, is it Creepin'? Creepin' did so well.
I
Like
thought
he
I was
did
gonna win
really, really well. I
something.
thought that song would have given him like the Grammy for that album. But fair enough. Like Killer Mike is still crazy talented. So
I'm sorry
I'm
that he
not
got.
mad, but I just thought the favourite was Metro Boomin.
And I think a quick cover of like the big categories. So Taylor Swift won Album of the Year, which we literally predicted that she was going to win Album of the Year. Our thoughts will come on to that in our next topic. Record of the Year and Song of the Year goes to Flowers for Miley Cyrus.
Oh, I can't believe that was her first Grammy, but that's so well deserved.
Do you know? I will say though, I feel like she should have won a Grammy for Plastic Hearts. Like Plastic Hearts was more of like a better album and better well written. I think she should have got something for Plastic Hearts over Flowers. I know this is really kind of, I think this is unpopular. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve her Grammy, but I'm just saying that Plastic Hearts was well written, one of her best albums. So I think I would have preferred for her to win then, because the Grammys, you snubbed her completely for Plastic Hearts, no nomination. So I would have preferred that for them to go for the most popular song, Flowers. Again, I like Flowers, but it was like the most popular song that you guys went for. This is just my opinion, but yeah. And I'm trying to think. Oh, My Faith in Humanity is Restored. I Spice did not win Best New Artist.
Yeah.
Again, I like I Spice, but I'm sorry, I wasn't gonna. I'm not engaging with this like that she should win for Best New Artist, especially after she released a song called Fart. And you wanted me to say that that should win Best New Artist. I'm sorry, no.
She's had a good year. I'll give her the year. Do you know what? Not even, she's been around for about 2 years now, right?
Really mainstream like last year.
So I think it's just a compliment. The fact that I've kind of had a fast track career, you know? I'm in categories with the likes of Victoria Monet, Coco Jones. I think for me, if I was like in that position, I would be very happy just being considered amongst those greats. So
Yes, this early on in your career, and again, especially after you release a song called Fart, yeah. So this is the end of our quick Grammys review. So
Is there anything else you want to touch on with the Grammy reviews?
so we did like the big cat. So
Mhm.
obviously we did like the big thing. Obviously we're not getting everything. Obviously Billie Eilish won for What Was I
Oh my
Made
gosh, no,
For.
you missed out a popular one.
Who?
You missed out the one that you were so angry about.
I will quickly touch on this. So Tyler won for Water for for best African performance. So I was originally mad at this, right? But then Damara decided to tell me because
I just told you.
No, Damara
I
told-
just read the category.
Damara read the category to me. It was for best performance, not song.
Yeah.
So I thought about it because I was like, because if it was for best song, I would have been like, Unavailable should have won. I was literally for Davido, and I felt like they did the most popular song, not the most best song. But Damara reminded me that it's for performance, and Tyler gave one of the best performances.
She's a great performer
for the
and
song.
I think we can't take that away from her. She's up there with artists that have been around for plus 10 years. So people, I mean, maybe we have an unpopular opinion, but I think the performance part is a key part of that category. She's a great performer live. And it was probably off the Water and Truth or Dare, that mashup she did. I can't, was it The Voice?
It was on The Voice. It was amazing.
It was amazing. So
that
it's just like, fair enough.
So
I think
yeah.
that's so fair. If that was the one, if that was the performance that got put forward to be, you know, the nominee for best African performance, then fair enough. I think it's very well deserved. If you hate and you hate from outside the club.
I agree, because again, I was so mad because I thought it was for, because I kept thinking it was for song, but then Damara said performance, so I was like, okay, fine, I concede. So congratulations to Tyler. So at the end of our quick Grammys review.
I think so.
All right, so on to our next topic. So I think in like recent conversations being had about the Grammys and certain things that were said during the ceremony, I think it's time for us to really discuss. Is it time for us to say goodbye to the Grammys, or how people like to call it, the scammies, according to some people? So I think for first we need to touch on Jay-Z's speech about what he said, saying to Beyonce about the Grammys. So Jay-Z during the Grammys accepted the award for the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award, and during that award, he gave a speech saying that, you know, some people in the categories don't deserve to be nominated, some people do. And then Jay-Z brought the fact is that Beyonce has won the most Grammys out of any artist in living time, but she's never won for Album of the Year, and that he wants the Grammys to get it right. Obviously this was like a huge conversation. A lot of people were talking about it. Some people agreed with Jay-Z, some people disagreed, some people said he's a hypocrite. So we need to give our thoughts about what Jay-Z's saying about the Grammys. And yeah. So Damara, do you want to start with your opinions first before I jump in?
I think yes, he has a point. He has a point, a very, 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 very valid point. Not even coming from the standpoint of, you know, I'm going to speak up for my wife because I've got the stage and the platform too. If you just look at numbers, the metrics, the trends, it's not adding up as to why she has not won Album of the Year once, when Beyonce and Lemonade as albums, culturally what they did was insane. Like, what they did was beyond the categories that they were.
But you know why? Beyonce's was unapologetically black.
But that's just one of them. That's Lemonade, not Beyonce.
The thing is, I feel like some white people even still regard Beyonce as even black.
No.
I feel like the last time they probably saw Beyonce as pop was probably when I Am Sasha Fist came out. That's just my opinion.
I disagree.
No?
Definitely 4 is after I'm Sasha Fierce.
Oh yeah, you're a 4.
4.
Yeah, that was also...
That has Countdown, Love on Top.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm missing Year 4.
Yeah. I think the more unapologetically black album is Lemonade, because we still, from Beyonce, we still get Pretty Hurts, EXO, Blow. Some of these songs aren't like the most popular ones.
I still think white people view that as a black album. Okay, this is just my opinion.
That might just be from whatever tones they've made up in their minds.
But then I'm like, that must affect how the Grammys be like, well, it's not really for us, so we're gonna vote.
But what tones?
I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to understand how these people on like the Grammy committee board think.
No,
I'm trying to get
I think that's the wrong album. Beyonce was literally just a great R&B/pop album. There isn't tones of unapologetic blackness in that album. I'm really confused.
No, I'm trying to understand it from like that perspective.
I think that was just a snub. I don't even think it's about the album being too urban. I think that's just an outright snub. I think Lemonade is the unapologetically black album, and then post Lemonade with Black is King, the Carter's album. I think those are more unapologetically black. I think the last pop R&B vibe we got from Beyonce was Beyonce, and it had songs like Ghost, Haunted, Blue, XO, Pretty Hurts. Trying to think. Drunk in Love was that R&B bop. Mine with Drake. I just want to say, oh my.
Oh, sorry. We need to get back on topic. So I'm just trying to think. Okay, so when we're talking about this stuff too, because Beyonce lost to Beck, right, for herself.
Was that Lemonade?
No, this was Beyonce when she lost to Beck.
Yeah, which album?
Yeah, Beyonce. Sorry, her self-titled one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when she lost to Beck, and then obviously she lost to Adele, and then we have that stuff too. And so, sorry to bring this back on topic. So I think our point is that what does Beyonce have to do to win Album of the Year?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, what I'm saying, I think Beyonce, the self-titled one, I think that was just an outright snub for no reason. I don't think we have to try and say there's blackness involved with it.
I personally think that, so this is just my opinion. I think that this is just my opinion now. I think unless it's like a proper pop album for them, like a Whitney, album when she won for 1996, which was very much a kind of like a pop soulful album, which appeals to the tastemakers. I feel like for me, I feel like her self-titled album was the beginning of her getting more experimental in her sound with hits of that stuff too. I think that the Grammys just like unapologetically pop, sounding albums for them fully. And I think for me, I don't even think that they like the dash of R&B there. And I'm going to get into this with SZA, but that's just my opinion. Lemonade, there was no reason to snub her, but the fact that Adele herself said that she couldn't take it was already what you said enough. Renaissance, I still feel that was a snub. I still like Harry Styles, but I still feel like it was a snub there. I don't know what it takes for Beyonce anymore. If you can have the most successful, accomplished black women who still come with an Album of the Year. A black woman hasn't won Album of the Year since Lauryn Hill, since the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, 25 years. What does that say when black people, especially black women, who can make so many great genres of music and we still can't be recognised in these big categories, and we seem to only be rewarded in these racially marked categories? Like, does anyone remember when they used to call like it Best Urban Contemporary Album? And I was like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean?
Well, what does that mean, Best Urban Contemporary Album? Obviously they changed it because it was too racially coded, but the remnants, you can change the name, but the remnants of it is still there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think another thing to take into account is the impact that album actually has. And all these albums, like SOS, Renaissance, Summer Walker's, Over It, and the one before that, like they're
still all not over it.
No, there was one before it. The one that has Girls Need Love.
Girls Need Love. Yeah.
All those songs. All those pieces of work have such a huge culturally impact on everyone, regardless of your race, and to still not be recognized as a nominee, at least. Like, let's not even say like, wait, is she even in the category of she's okay? They're nominated, but they don't win.
I was gonna say, I think SZA was nominated for her EP Soft Life.
No, that's Summer Walker. But I mean, are they even getting into the nominee status?
SZA was nominated in the big categories. It's just that she's
not winning.
She only swept the R&B ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if Summer Walker was nominated for.
I don't think she
she was. But my thing is that we're black, so we view it differently. I feel like, again, I'm referring to the taste makers on these boards. I don't think they view the impact as the same, and the reason I say this is because Billboard released an article from like the Grammy committee boards last year about why they don't vote for Beyonce, and this was in the Billboard article. One person felt said that I don't vote for Beyonce because she wins too much.
Which is very hypocritical.
But then,
Not to take away from the likes of Taylor Swift, but she frequently wins Album of the Year. So how many times is too much when you've never won that category at all?
because it's just it's crazy to me. It's like, okay, if that was true, then like again, I liked Taylor Swift, but then you wouldn't give Taylor Swift Album of the Year 4 times.
Yeah.
So and the fact that you don't want to vote for Beyonce because you want to reward her too much, I don't. This doesn't make sense to me, which is why I'm like, when I'm talking about like the Grammy like voting stuff, I'm very questionable of the process, and we're gonna get into that in a bit. But tomorrow,
I mean, you haven't actually shared your opinion on what Jay-Z said.
so oh, see, this is how we get off topic sometimes. So into Jay-Z said this, what Jay-Z wasn't wrong, but I think that he contradicts himself because in that same speech you're like, listen, I'm still gonna criticize you, but I'm still gonna turn up to the Grammys. You're still legitimizing the institution that you're criticizing. So what incentive does the Grammy have to change this, to change if it's like, okay, you're gonna criticize us, people are gonna talk for 2 weeks, but you're still going to attend. Jay-Z has so much power and influence. I think that it could be better said if we had an actual substantive boycott of the Grammys like there was in the 80s. When The Weeknd says, I'm not submitting my music to the Grammys, The Weeknd was like, I'm not submitting my music. I think the power would be best suited if we remove resources away. But I think too many of us still want validation from an institution that doesn't seem to fully respect the power of black art, and not even just black art, people from other cultures and genres. Like, I still think BTS deserves so much more Grammys for what they've contributed to music, but I don't think they get appreciated. And obviously Latin artists have their own Grammys, but I want Latin, like, it'll be great if like a Latin album could win for album of the year. But I don't think, but from my perspective, it's like, do you want to vote for them? Because it's like, oh well, you have your own Latin Grammy, so we don't have to vote for you for album of the year and stuff. It's not recognizing other cultures and how big they play in the culture. So how great would it be if we finally withdrew resources and been like, okay, we're not going to give our resources into the Grammys unless you actually like have systemic institutional change. But they're not going to change because the biggest people will still show up. A conversation will be had for 2 weeks, and then I'm still going to watch the Grammys next year. So Jay-Z's speech to me is like, you're right, but is this the best use of your power and influence?
I think with that being said, it is powerful that if you do get the platform to speak in the room of the Grammys where millions of people are tuning in, I actually don't think it's hypocritical to say that Grammys do better, because he could just release a video from his Instagram, but it's not going to hit the same. You could like, I think it definitely holds more weight when all the stars are in the room, all the board people are in the room, you're looking in their face and you're saying like, stop playing with us. I think that is effective.
But it
I
also,
think that, cool, we can boycott the Grammys, but let's be real. Take away the artists that want validation. No one else is following the boycott. Everyone else is still tuning into the Grammys. So it's like, if you can't make people follow you, then you need to just change the institution. Like, you got to change it from inside. And I think Jay-Z pointing out how they can do better on primetime TV in front of millions of people, I think that is effective. I'm not going to lie.
But this also brings in a good point about like the Grammys Institute as the Grammys as a whole. So remember the 20 was it in 2020 or the 2021 scandal with the former CEO of the Grammys coming out? Was it 2020 2021? Either way, it's been it's been within the last 5 years that a huge scandal came out where the former head of the Grammys came out to talk about the Grammys being rigged. Rolling Stone released a very, very detailed article talking about there's alleging from this article that there is alleged corruption within the Grammy committee boards. So for those of you who don't know, the way that the Grammys work is that you have members vote for artists you think should be nominated. There was then a secret committee, people from about 15 to 13 highly skilled experts that would then decide who were the final list of nominees, and then the members ultimately vote on the winners. But from this article, there was alleged to be in this Craft Grammy Committee board that there seemed to be was alleged corruption and lobbying going on there, and other people such as Zayn Malik were calling out the Grammys, calling it a secret basket club. The Weeknd voiced the same thing. There were multiple quotes from within that Rolling Stone article about people lobbying. One person was alleged to actually, who was already voted, nominated about 18 out of 20 times in these categories, who was still on that board while themselves was one of the nominees, which is a clear conflict of interest. So conflicts of interest, lobbying for personal people, and that seemed to be a huge issue. And so she raised issues about sexism going on. Also, people in the article were also saying that it's just a very group of a certain demographic of people who aren't necessarily reflective of the diversity of music in general. So therefore, is it representative of like these people who should be analyzing the nominees? So the former CEO left, and then the Grammy announced that they gotten rid of this secret committee, but to this day we don't actually know what's replaced this new committee. Like, we don't know the full process. Like, there seems to be a lack of transparency within the Grammy about what this new process is. So I still don't even know what's going on with the Grammy voting process at this point.
Um, what can even be said at this point? It's not transparent. I think it should be transparent. I think the fact that it's not clear is giving me some sort of scam, fraudulent vibes. I even think we should go as far to see who is on the board, because if you're not doing shady stuff, why can't we know who's deciding? It's only for the people that want these cute baskets and the trips and the holidays that would be against being, known who's part of the decision making process in terms of who even makes the categories. I also wish, with the allegations, like there was more proof, because take away what the CEO said, people have been saying this for years. It's not news to us.
And it was anonymous sources that were reporting.
Yes,
about
anonymous.
This.
So what can we do with that? Like, we need people to just be saying things barefaced, come with your receipts. And then maybe there'll be real progress in the Grammys and how the decision process is being made. But people are just saying, oh, yeah, there's, lobbying, people get flown out, but we're not seeing who these people are getting flown out. We're not seeing receipts of these plane tickets. We're not seeing anything. It's just the same allegations. We're still going to be in the same place.
Because my thing is that, like, other institutions like the Golden Globes had the exact same controversy where it was outed that members of the Golden Globes were literally, there are people lobbying, flowing out members of the Golden Globes, and that was influencing who won. So do you know what they did at the Golden Globes? It got taken off of the air for 2 years, had a complete overhaul. By the way, there was not one person of color on that voting board for like 100 members. Complete overhaul, complete change of the whole system, and now the Golden Globes has changed. There was actual pressure put on the Golden Globes. Oscars, after the Harvey Weinstein scandal, there was a huge overhaul of rules changed in about the Oscars and the change in the code of conduct. There is an Oscars code of conduct. There were overhauls for these other institutions after these scandals. Why has the same not happened for the Grammys?
Because I'm guessing with the Golden Globes and the Oscars, receipts were brought
And
to the people.
And people came forward.
Yeah,
on
people
record.
literally. So it's the same thing. Until that happens, it's still going to be the same allegations flying around for the next 10 years that we already know. Like, you didn't have to tell me that there's corruption in the Grammys to know there's corruption in the Grammys. Just because of all the artists that have been snubbed. It's just, when it doesn't make sense and it's in your face like that, there's no other answer apart from corruption. Like, you can tell people are being swayed. It just doesn't make sense.
It's just, for me, it's like so Jay-Z can say this, but I feel like there needs to be a complete overhaul of the system, because it just upsets me that SZA is such an amazing artist, and again, SZA's SOS broke more records than Midnight's did, but then it's insane to me how she's had a more impactful album. Snooze is still in the top 10. She's the first black artist recently to have like an album still be in the top 10 after what, over a year. Her album was number one for over 21 weeks, and she still didn't win album of the year, which is insane to me.
Yeah, it's not making sense. So I think there should be an overhaul, and whatever they do decide to do, they should be transparent with it to remove the rumors of conspiracy,
But
corruption.
Tamara, they don't want the transparency though.
Yeah, of course, because
And
they still want to do
the thing is,
corruption.
because it's still going on. Like you lot can say you got rid of that secret committee.
It's
Something
still
is,
there.
it's still there. You just, you guys changed this in name only because why can you? Because this day, I've checked multiple sources. I still can't figure out the voting process for the Grammys. I've checked on multiple websites. I can't figure out what's going on, and that's when it's like, okay,
We're
what are we
just
doing?
supposed to take what they're saying for face value. Just take my word that we're doing things fairly.
Exactly. Like,
Absolutely not. No, but hey ho.
is there anything else that we should say about like the Grammys being relevant? I mean, the Grammys apparently I think they had higher ratings this year than in previous years, so it's not like so.
I think the ratings were to do with the star-studded audience, though.
Which is why I'm saying that if we stop attending, right, that will literally like tank their ratings, and
No,
then
but
that affects sponsorships and adverts. I'm like,
I disagree.
no,
I
I think
disagree
so.
because it's been tanking and people are still dying for the Grammys. You see what I mean? So I think if the superstars are going to show out, then when they do show out, when you get on that mic, you talk your stuff and you make people know you're standing on business, which is what Jay-Z did.
Drake did it as well. Remember when Drake, after was it he won for like best rap song for God's Plan, which that's a whole conversation itself about should God's Plan or won for best rap song, called out the Grammys. They cut him off halfway through his speech, and Drake has never attended the Grammys since. Drake also did a recent Instagram post saying that listen, the Grammys are not an objective measure of talent. It is a subjective group made by a small group of people, and you know who they are. I mean, at least Drake sounds on business when he says that I'm not attending the Grammys anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
he'll still accept his Grammy when he wins for.
So it's not standing on business then.
Why
Cool. You're eligible to receive a Grammy, and I know you'd go if you won the Grammy, but anything else, I'm not gonna go. That's not standing on business. Respectfully, I'm a Drizzy girl. I like Drizzy, but standing on business is not even putting your song forward to be considered as a Grammy winner.
I think The Weeknd's probably the only one who's really been.
He's the only person from what I saw. Creeping though,
wasn't that more? The thing is, I think that's more Metro Boomin though. Like,
I mean, it is Metro Boomin's album.
So it
is his vocals. I can't imagine The Weeknd saying, "Submit your album, but take off our song."
I was going to say, so I'm not going to fault The Weeknd for that.
I wouldn't. Just as someone who wants to give someone their flowers, I'm assuming that's the kind of person he is. I don't know him personally, but just from artist to artist, I wouldn't do that. Especially someone as big as The Weeknd, I wouldn't do that to someone that I've worked with that I know would really, really like cherish this moment in their career defining moment like that. I wouldn't take it away from them by taking off the most successful song off the album with me on it. Like, no, I wouldn't do that. So yeah, I'll give it to him. Creeping is fair, but
The Weeknd just was staying on business. I think to wrap it up with the Grammys and stuff, I think there needs to be an overhaul. They're not being these allegations of racial bias, of xenophobia. Like, they're not being those allegations, but it doesn't seem like the Grammy seems to care to address this stuff. It's like, yeah, we know it's allegations, but we have no incentive to change. Our stars turn up.
They don't all the time though. They've stopped. They haven't always been the turning up.
Yeah.
There's been a decline. I think it's strategic.
They get the ratings when Beyonce turns up. It's just that Beyonce just refuses to perform.
Yeah, and she doesn't go every year. She goes when she strategically. I'm sure she knew her husband was gonna stand up.
And they strategically nominate her to get her to go, so that way
Was she nominated for anything this year? No.
Well, she went for Jay-Z for the
exactly. She didn't actually need to go to the Grammys this year. Like, she can easily stay in her beautiful home with her beautiful babies and watch from home. But she went in her cowboy fit, you know, because she dropped a couple things, and she knew her man was gonna stand up for her.
My final point is that for me personally, I think us still going legitimizes the institution. So I feel like if we can do a boycott, the successful boycott that took place in the 80s, when we actually used to stand on business. I think we can force some systemic change. If we still keep going, there's no incentive. That's a solution that I think that can happen with the Grammys.
Yeah,
But
I
Tamara
don't
disagrees
think
with me.
I don't think anyone is watching anything that's not the Grammys. Like, unfortunately,
The
you can
VMAs.
boycott.
Don't look at
The
me like that.
boycott is not going to be successful. So, if people come together and publicly keep doing what they're doing, forcing the Grammys to change their ways, I think that's more effective than, oh, let's go over here and make our own Grammys. And then
The BET Awards, which you guys don't support, but that's a different conversation.
I think the Grammys is fine. We just, in terms of like the awards given out, how prestigious it is, you can't like, what's the word? You can't break that apart. You can't defragmentalize that. It's been around for so long and it holds so many weight to even artists that like Michael Jackson, the Michael Jacksons, the real icons. I think because of all of that, there was a time when artists were valid. Like, there was a time where the winners were valid. So because of that, I think, no, let's not boycott it. Let's just get back to that place. It's going to take time. I think that if we just make up a new award ceremony, like, okay.
Yeah.
What are the quality? How is quality going to be measured here? Like, yeah, that has to. It's like creating a new world again. It's like starting again from scratch. It's like, you can just fix what's broken, I think, instead of just starting something new. But hey ho.
I think this is a good conversation and debate, and so we'll see next year when we cover these Grammy nominations again. Will we be ranting about the same thing when the winners will be announced? We shall see. So we'll see next year in a year's time when we have this same conversation again. So I guess this ends are the Grammys still relevant, or are they still necessary in this day and age? So yeah. So on to our final topic. See tomorrow last because we know. In light of recent events that have been taking on within hip hop and within the rap world, we decided to talk about how far is too far in rap beef and just kind of have that conversation. So I'm gonna kick it off by, let's just talk about the gigantic elephant in the room. The Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion beef that's been taking place, where Megan released her song Hiss. She takes shots at multiple people, such as her ex,
Pardison Fontaine.
Yes, I'm so bad at pronouncing that name. Drake, and then this is at multiple other people, but there was also a diss at Nicki Minaj where she said that these H's be mad at Megan, but what these H's really should be mad about is Megan's law. A clear diss at Nicki Minaj referencing her husband 𝐂𝐓, who is a registered ex offender, and her brother as well, who is also a registered ex offender. So Nicki, in retaliation, releases a diss track called Bigfoot, which we'll give our opinions about later. And so there were conversations about, in the diss track, did Nicki bring it too far when she talked about her lying on her dead mum, which was the chorus of the song? And so how far is too far in rap beef? I'm going to kick it off. I don't think you can go too far in rap beef. Like, if we're going to hip hop, we've been taking it there. We've been going to those places. So I don't think it's too far, to be honest, because it's hip hop. Like, it's not for the weak. But this soft generation, I just think we can't say that stuff anymore.
Personally, I would go as far as the person that at me, because I do think there's a line. But if you cross that line, then yeah, let's take it there. That's what I think personally.
But that's what Nicki said. Nicki said, you talked about my family, so I'm going to talk about your family.
Yeah,
that's
no.
how Nicki justified it.
Yeah, no. Because Megan didn't mention her father that has passed away. Do you see what I mean? I don't think Megan crossed the line. Like, she spoke about people that are everyone she spoke about, they're alive and they're breathing, So I think, like I said, you go as far as the person that at you did. And I think Nicki bringing up Megan's mum that is no longer with us was crossed that line. And when you cross that line, all bets are off.
I think when Nicki went off is that she didn't keep it on wax. For some reason, Nicki decided to not keep it in the booth. For some reason, she decided to go on a 72-hour spiral on Twitter, trying to say you better go and on Instagram Live as well, saying you better go conjure up your dead mum,
See,
telling
is
her may
that
God strike you down. Like, why are you not keeping it on wax? Like, had she kept it in the booth, I think people still would have criticized her, but I think it would have been better. But you didn't keep it on booth to the point where your psychotic stands then decided to dox the location of her mom's grave. And see, this is where it goes too far because Nicki can't keep it on wax.
Yeah, I think with rap beefs, yes, all in the music, should stay in the music, and I think it should be about out rapping each other. Even just, okay, cool, bringing up people that are no longer in my life. That doesn't actually mean you out rap me, though.
I think the point of like rap beats is that people just try to go to hurt people as much as possible. But like the way like me and Damara judge rap beats is differently. Like I think rap beats is like sometimes people will try and bring up something that hurts you or bring up information that people don't know. But you don't think that's like a good type of rap beef. Like for example,
No.
like Damara doesn't like Pusha T's diss against Drake, the story of is it Adion?
Yeah, I think that's
The
it.
story of Adion. You didn't think that was a good diss track, and I was like, what? That's like one of
Yeah.
the best diss tracks against Drake.
I think people confuse a good rap with shock value. No one's actually talking about any other part of the song apart from the fact that he told the world that Drake had a son. That doesn't mean that the rap is actually good. Like, congratulations, you're a fan, you did a research on me, you found out I have a child. But if you actually read the lyrics of it, I wasn't amazed. Like, we just fixate on the fact that, oh my gosh, he's the first person to tell everyone that he's had a child. Like, that doesn't mean you've out-rapped me. That doesn't mean you're a better rapper than me.
But people want to hear stuff that I think from the general public, people want to hear stuff that people don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. You're a journalist. Thank you. Thank you. You're in the wrong business. Call the Times, call Daily Mail, because
I think it was well written as well. Again, I actually want to hear stuff that people don't know. It's like, do you have the inside tea that
yeah, but that doesn't mean you're a good rapper. You're a gossip blog then. That's what you are. If you're just telling the world about me.
See, Damara needs to explain stuff now because let's even get into Damara. She also doesn't think that Shifa by Remy Ma was
goodness gracious me.
The best diss track. And I was like, come
It's
on.
not.
Remy bodied Nicki.
No, she didn't.
Bodied.
No, she didn't. She just literally, like I said, the gossip blog. Didn't she talk about her brother?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. You did your research on me. You found out that my bro is an S. She says she wears a chicken wing chain. Oh! Where is the L? Like, out rap me. Yeah, you're pointing out facts, but that doesn't mean your rap is good. If you take two athletes, yeah, and you put them against each other, to decide who's the better person, it's the person who crosses the finish line first, the person with the quickest time, yeah? The better runner, the faster runner. If you have two designers, yeah, and they make a piece of clothing, someone makes something without any rips or seams, one has seams and rips in it. Which quality is better? The one without the rips and seams, right? It's not about shock value. And that's what I think we fixate on. It should be about my skill and how I've read you. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are going to draw me out and talk about things in my personal life that no one knows, do it in a way that still shows that you are a great rapper. Like, you're ugly. You got no bread. What? Shout to my ex. Because they gave me head. Okay, cool. I told everyone your ex gave me top. Does that mean the rap was good? No!
Because it's just that for me, it's like,
it's not good.
My thing is that by your logic, then most of our most iconic rap beats are not good.
They're not that good.
She doesn't think that Hit 'Em Up by Tupac is the best diss
track.
Not. Hit 'Em Up.
It's
just
the
most iconic diss track. You call yourself a player,
but he didn't though.
Yeah, he didn't.
So you're just lying. So then if you're just picking things and plucking things from the sky, then where do we draw the line? I would just start calling you a dragon. You breathe out fire, dragon breath. Like, what's that? We're just making things up. Don't get me wrong. It's iconic because, you know, the get money, money. Like, it's iconic, but it doesn't actually... And yeah, Okay, it's iconic. Well done for keeping the flow going, but it's all lies. So what is a good rap beef? I think there's certain artists you're not drawing out. You're not drawing out J. Cole.
Oh, that's
Do you know
facts.
why? Because you know he's gonna out rap you. He's not gonna do cheap stuff. Let me think of another cheap thing to say.
J.
Or
Cole
another cheap
will give you
rhyme.
lyricism, metaphors, double entendres. Like, he will par you in the most local way. Do you know what was a good diss track? Partisan Fontaine's diss track against Megan. That one slapped. I don't even care what it says.
That was a read.
The thing is,
That was a read.
𝐂𝐲𝐍𝐄𝐄 can be mad. Partisan Fontaine's diss track gets slapped. And Megan's response to that was, oh, you were terrible in bed. And I was like, first off, we all know Parsons not bad in bed, but we're not gonna play that like he was bad in bed. But that was a well-written one. Your foundation is off, but you need to fix it.
See?
Double entendre.
Right? He could have just said, you're a bad person. But no. He used, thank God for English language, and he was listening in lessons. Because he used the skills he's adopted as a songwriter.
But he also did out that she had lipo.
And I didn't think that was cold.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think that part was like, I mean, I was like, I don't believe it, but
GG.
I don't think that was a good part of the diss. And okay, cool, she got lipo, but you were still in love with her. Like, you see what I mean? So it's like, what? That added no value.
GG on the beat, you let that tag and then let him beat. Obviously, he's makes her beats for her. You let him tag.
Yes,
and
that's clever.
That's clever.
That's clever. You see, it's all about being clever with it. If you're just like, oh, let me try to think of like something cheap and dumb to say. So before I said you're ugly, okay, cool. You ain't a freak. Don't get man on a low. Line about your BC. You wanna be ho. Oh my god. Those bars were dead. You see what I mean? There's so many ways to articulate what I said in a better way, rather than just give me your like cheap bars. Like, I just feel like there's metaphors, similes, double entendres. Like, you're rappers, so we put you in this position because you're supposed to be one of the bestest. If I wanted to hear these nursery rhymes, big foot, you got a big foot, I would have gone to the playground and got 9-year-olds to cuss each other.
And then just go,
Lying on your, like, if that's what I wanted, I would have just gone back to my school and got teenagers to at each other.
Because my thing is that, Nicki, your diss would have hit better had you not just tweeted. Like, the fact that you tweeted out all of your bars before the diss track came out, it made the diss track not slap as well. The thing is, because Nicki, you could have gone off on shock value.
Yeah.
But because you decided to tweet out all of your raps, you know...
we weren't even surprised.
What's it called? What she said, like, Megan's Law, she tweeted this out for, like, a free beat, you could hit Megan Raw. That's
clever.
That's clever, but what did you do?
You tweeted it.
You tweeted it before it came out, so therefore it didn't slap the same. Like, I don't know what, Nicki, I don't know what's going on with you. You don't have people around that love you, because I wouldn't have done that. You should have just pretended as if you didn't hear anything, did your Pink Vanity rehearsals, then slapped that diss track and then kept it on wax. But you
the
didn't
same
do
way
that.
Megan surprised us with Hiss should have been the same way she surprised us with Bigfoot. But like I said, the whole angle of saying she's got big feet and she's big, like, nah, like, come on, you're harder than that.
And then making fun of her getting shot, like, it's just like, the thing is,
like, nah.
Realistically, you can diss Megan, like, there are ways to diss her, but it just wasn't clever. Like,
literally, the easiest way is just bragging, like, you're Nicki Minaj.
Like,
your stats, it's incomparable. If she made a whole song just based on the stats that she has and Megan has, that's even enough in my opinion. Just be eloquent, slick with it, clever with it. Let's talk about net worths. They're not even in the same. You see what I mean? Someone can buy a private jet, somebody can't. But you do it in a way that you're not saying, I can buy a private jet and you cannot. Like, you can't do that. You gotta be slick with it.
She'll just say like, oh yeah, you was lying to the queen, you was lying to the king.
Something smart.
Like, what? Wait, the thing is that, why did you add Gail on the end? It's like, you could have just said to the king, and then that would have been like, oh, she must be friends with Gail King. But then you had the Gail on the end, which, like, you have to make
that was
people...
to make sure it didn't go over our head.
No,
but J. Cole wouldn't have done that. J. Cole would have just left it.
No, but do you know what, Nicki Minaj? Because this is also the same girl who wrote "I don't f with horses" since Christopher Reeves. That was a clever one because everyone was like, "Oh, Christopher Reeves horses." So
I think she really wanted us to make sure we knew.
No, because
she was talking about that interview.
But thing is, Nicki is the queen of metaphors and means. Like, when it comes to Nicki Minaj rap, you have to listen to it over and over again and think. So I know Nicki has it in her. So you don't know. You didn't have to make it obvious. The thing is, if people could search Megan's Law, people for diss tracks, we will do our research.
Yeah,
we will do our research. So you didn't have to make it obvious.
She didn't have to. I agree.
Because thing is, because we would have done our research to figure out what every line meant. So I don't know why she did that. Again, the idea of IMS since Christopher Lee's, that line was great. I don't care what anyone said.
It is great.
That was a great line. So Nicki, you have it in you. I don't know what's going on with you.
I think that response, the reply, was mainly off emotions. I don't even think she approached it the same way as like she would have done a song.
Did Nicki
from wrote it very quickly?
Nicki from 10 years ago would be embarrassed by this. Like,
let's not even get the barbs to shun us.
Yeah, because you guys have been coming at us a bit too much recently, especially on
let's
other
not even
platforms.
Because I actually, Nicki Minaj is a huge inspiration in music. I do have to say, I know people don't personally like her, but I'm not going to discredit her talent and, her contribution to music, her contribution to rap, her contribution to pop. I'm not going to overlook that. It's just a shame that this has happened. And my fingers are crossed that she does have a redemption moment. She's going on tour. It's sold out. So I'm hoping that, maybe somewhere in life, Megan and Nicki can be one. There's so much bread to be made when everyone's just friends. It's like,
I'm gonna get into Nicki later on.
Maybe another episode.
Another episode. I'm gonna get into Nicki, but I just think the idea of I think with how far too far and back beats, I think hip hop is very bit on much disrespectfulness. So I'm fine with it. Nicki just saying keep it on wax. I just feel like this generation's more sensitive. So I think due to the times, we just can't go as deep as we used to because you guys would not survive the 90s. With the rudeness. And a final point before we start to wrap this up. Can we stop with the sneak dissing? Do you know, I'm tired of a lot of you guys, and I'm talking about a lot of you rap girls, you lot do the most subtle sneak disses and you make a lot of these blogs do most of the work to figure out most of it. It's like, nah man, I miss the days when someone said screw you, they say screw you out your mother's chest. And a lot of you lot have gotten too comfortable just too much with the sneak disses. So I applaud Nicki Minaj for being brave enough to be like, I'm bringing diss track back. Not the sneak disses and then hiding your hands. I'm looking at you, Latto and Ice Spice. I'm looking at you specifically, Latto. Bring back direct disses. I'm tired of you lot with the sneak disses.
Yeah, I agree. For me, literally, I lose interest. If you're not saying who it's about, I'm not then going to research who you're on about. I'm next.
I'll be doing the research and I'm sending this tomorrow. Like, oh yeah, this music tomorrow's I don't care.
I've lost interest. I'll listen, talk about everything, and I know who you're talking about, but because there's so much, that little window is enough for them to be like, I never said names. So when they start doing that stuff, I'm just like, go away. Just go away.
Sunday
you wasted
service.
My time. I'm not listening to any diss tracks from you again, because we'll tune in and then you start trying to say, oh, it's just a song. And you leave it ambiguous. It's just like, bye.
And where's the fear coming from? Before we wrap it up, where is the fear of just being like, I'm calling you out your mouth? I don't get why everyone's scared now.
Well, look at all the people that have had a lot to say about Nicki Minaj. It's the stigma that comes with being an instigator. I think.
The thing is, everything is that Nicki's had multiple issues because one, she keeps beefing with multiple people.
Yeah, but she has lost popularity.
This wasn't good. And the thing is, I think Nicki would have been more fine had she just kept it on wax. I think it was her antics on social media that made it worse. I think had she just released a good diss track, people would have been like, it's hip hop beef. Hip hop is built as a competition. It's a sport. I think people would have been here for it, but she just didn't go about it in the right way. I don't think there's nothing wrong with a hip hop beef when it's done correctly and kept in the booth.
I think with women it's different. I think that's only for men. I think there's a stigma, definitely. People argue that, Nicki, with what you're saying, Nicki Minaj is what she's had beef with Remy Ma, she's had beef with Lil' Kim. He's had beef
Cardi.
with Cardi. There was no diss track with
Latto.
Cardi.
Latto.
Yeah, I think she gets she does get a hard time for openly beefing people and not hiding her hands. So I think we can't sit here and say, oh, do things with your chest, nothing's gonna happen. But no, like, yeah, there is, for black women specifically, yes, you might lose a couple deals, you might lose a couple fans, you might lose a couple opportunities. I think that is the case for black women when they do beef. Other races don't get that same stigma, I think.
I like that point, and I think that's a good point to end it on. That's a good conversational point. So, thank you for tuning into our episode. I really, really hope you liked it. And don't forget to follow us on our socials, which will be linked down below. And once again, if you like us, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I've been your host, Gina.
I've been your host, Amara.
And tune in to us next time. Bye.
Bye.
In the bed, I got out my feelings. Confrontation, he ain't relevant. Put him onto a little editor.